Right, guys, so we left off with the previous video, which in real life was actually a while ago, because these are not recorded in sequence necessarily. But Montag had gone to the call for the old lady who sacrificed herself and gave the quote about Master Ridley. Play the man, we shall this day light such a candle in England as by God's grace shall never be put out. And the woman burned herself with her books. And Montag had stolen a book during that raid. And that was the time when Beatty had quoted to the woman about all her home being a regular Tower of Babel, which the meaning of that allusion to the book of Genesis is in the Tower of Babel. They were going to build a tower into heaven, and then God came down and confused their languages so that they couldn't work together, and then they all dispersed throughout the earth. So the point of that reference is Beatty was saying all the books contradict each other and therefore lead to confusion. So the main idea there is about confusion. Now Montag gets home after this event. He's got the stolen book, which we don't know which book it is yet that he stole. And he begins to get sick. He begins to feel ill. And he's questioning Mildred, and Mildred is basically lost in her world of entertainment and parlor wall screens and so on. Now, something interesting comes up where Montag begins to ask Mildred about Clarice. So he asks her, Mildred, do you know that girl I was telling you about? What girl? She was almost asleep. The girl next door. What girl next door? You know, the high school girl, Clarice, her name is. Oh, yes, said the wife. I haven't seen her for a few days, 4 days to be exact. Have you seen her? No. I've meant to talk to you about her. Strange. Oh, I know the one you mean. I thought you would. Her, said Mildred in the dark room. What about her? Asked Montag. I meant to tell you. Forgot. Tell me now. What is it? I think she's gone. Gone? Whole family moved out somewhere, but she's gone for good. I think she's dead. We couldn't be talking about the same girl. No, the same girl, McClellan. McClellan run over by a car 4 days ago. I'm not sure, but I think she's dead. The family moved out anyway. I don't know, but I think she's dead. All right, what's going on here? So Clarice McClellan and her family were the ones who were questioning the government, who had access to real historical information, not revisionist history, edited history. Her uncle had been arrested a number of times for breaking very minor laws like the speed limit. He was going the speed limit instead of going faster like everyone else. Okay, so now what's happened to them? The whole family has vanished. And Mildred is reporting this as though she's reporting the official narrative that the government is giving, which is Clarice was run over by a car and the family's moved away. But knowing what we know about this totalitarian dystopian government and society that they're existing in, the family has not likely vanished. They've likely been killed, and probably by the mechanical hound, who is the killing agent technology that the government employs to enforce their totalitarian rule over others, them and the hound and the firemen. All right. You're not sure of it? No, not sure. Pretty sure. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Forgot. 4 days ago? I forgot all about it. 4 days ago, he said, quietly, lying there. They lay there in the dark room, not moving, either of them. Good night, she said. He heard a faint rustle. Her hands moved. The electric thimble moved like a praying mantis on the pillow touched by her hand. Now it was in her ear again, humming. He listened, and his wife was singing under her breath. Outside the house, a shadow moved. An autumn wind rose up and faded away. But there was something else in the silence that he heard. It was like a breath exhaled upon the window. It was like a faint drift of greenish luminescent smoke, the motion of a single huge October leaf blowing across the lawn and away. The hound, he thought. It's out there tonight. It's out there now. If I open the window, he did not open the window. So a shadow moves near his house, and he thinks it's the hound, and he's probably right. So he's stolen books. He has stolen books in his house, and he's being tracked. And he's being monitored by the government. And Beatty is aware that there's a problem here. Okay, so Beatty has like secret knowledge of history, and Beatty's kind of an enigma because we don't know. Did Beatty also once experience the same temptations as Montag to steal books and to read books and to be curious about books? And one thing we have to note about the fire that's going to be try to make some fire here. All right, that's my fire. The fire with the old lady in it, she was willing to die for the books. And so for the first time, Montag sees that someone is willing to sacrifice themselves for these books. And that shows him that the books are super valuable, and they are precious and worth dying for. But he doesn't understand why. He doesn't know how to think clearly. He doesn't know how to use critical thinking. But now he's seen the woman sacrifice herself for the books. So he knows like something is really important here. But as he has brought books home and he's going to start to try to read books, he realizes he doesn't know how to understand them because he doesn't know how to think anymore. People have been so brainwashed by oversimplistic media, reductionist media, short clips, which we're going to see the background of the society in the next pages. How did it get like this? How did people become so stupid and brainwashed? Well, they stopped learning how to think. They stopped learning how to learn. So Montag perceives that something really, really important is in the books, but he's not going to know how to access that information. He's going to need a guide. All right, so Mildred is freaking out that he's sick because all she cares about is him going to work, making money, and just life going on as normal with her obsession with TV and her radio programs and everything else. She doesn't actually care about him personally. Notice their dynamic. Will you bring me aspirin and water? You've got to get up, she said. It's noon. You've slept 5 hours later than usual. Will you turn the parlor off? That's my family. Notice, she doesn't care about Montag, who's her actual husband. She cares about the TV screen. She calls them her family. Will you turn it off for a sick man? I'll turn it down. She went out of the room and did nothing to the parlor and came back. Is that better? Thanks. That's my favorite program. What about the aspirin? You've never been sick before. She went away again. Well, I'm sick now. I'm not going to work tonight. Call Beatty for me. You acted funny last night, she returned, humming. Where's the aspirin? He glanced at the water glass she handed him. Oh. She walked to the bathroom again. Did something happen? So notice Mildred Mildred is totally inconsiderate and kind of brain dead. She literally can't even do a simple task to help her husband, like bring him some aspirin. She's brain dead and brainwashed. And she's totally unsympathetic to his suffering. She's unsympathetic. She doesn't really care. She just wants him to go to work so he can make money and take care of them, while she does nothing but stay watching TV all day long. It's real life for some people, this marriage dynamic. So it shows her stupidity also and lack of thought. She's become really so conditioned by this simplistic, idiotic media that she's addicted to that she can't even complete simple tasks properly. And they talk about, what happened the previous night. Okay, and he talks about which books they burned, copies of famous works. And she's saying, like, she doesn't want to call Captain Beatty and tell him that her husband's sick. Talks about how they burned a woman. And she's like, well, the parlor was exploding with sound. She doesn't care that they burned a human being. Mildred is desensitized, which is one of the themes that's talked about in the Prezi Introduction to Dystopian Literature. She's desensitized and she's dehumanized. Because what totalitarian societies and governments do is they strip people of their intrinsic humanity, of their basic human nature. That's why the woman was burned to death. Even her bodily form would be melted down, so to speak, dehumanized. And Mildred is just like that. She's got a functioning body and brain, but she's essentially inhuman toward her husband. Even toward herself. She wants to kill herself all the time. So she doesn't really care that he's sick. She says, I can't call him, but he's adamant that she has to call. And he doesn't want to call because he's afraid. He's afraid. A child feigning illness, feigning to call because after a moment's discussion, the conversation would run so, yes, Captain, I feel better already. I'll be in at 10 o'clock tonight. You're not sick, said Mildred. Montague fell back in bed. He reached under his pillow. The hidden book was there. Mildred, how would it be if, well, maybe I quit my job a while? You want to give up everything after all these years of working because one night some woman in her books? You should have seen her, Millie. She's nothing to me. She shouldn't have had books. It was her responsibility. She should have thought of that. I hate her. She's got you going, and next thing you know, we'll be out. No house, no job, nothing. You weren't there. You didn't see, he said. There must be something in books, things we can't imagine to make a woman stay in a burning house. There must be something there. You don't stay for nothing. She was simple-minded. She was as rational as you and I, more so perhaps, and we burned her. That's water under the bridge. No, not water. Fire. You ever seen a burned house? It smolders for days. Well, this fire will last me the rest of my life. God, I've been trying to put it out in my mind all night. I'm crazy with trying. Notice all Mildred cares about? We'll be out. No house. No job. Nothing. So what does this kind of overly simplistic, materialistic entertainment culture lead to? It's just all you care about is materialism. All you care about is stuff, getting more stuff to be supposedly happy when they're miserable and she's suicidal. Next video, Beatty will come to visit Montag, and we're going to get a deeper backstory.